In an empire where betrayals and alliances were common, a man emerged who redefined the art of war. Flavius Belisarius, a general of the Byzantine army, crushed almost all his barbarian enemies and managed to reclaim lost territories, bringing swift prestige to an empire in decline. Despite rising to the highest command position, Belisarius retained the loyalty of a soldier who had ascended from the humblest ranks to become the right hand of one of the most ambitious emperors in Byzantine history. The military campaigns of Flavius Belisarius not only saved the Byzantine Empire from ruin, but also established him as one of the greatest military leaders in history. In this video, we'll see how a simple soldier became one of the greatest generals of the Byzantine Empire. Flavius Belisarius was born around the year 505 AD in a small town in the province of Thrace, which at the time was part of the Byzantine Empire and is now in Bulgaria. Thrace was a border region, and in such areas exposed to attacks, militarism and defense were matters of daily survival. From a young age, Belisarius showed a natural inclination for combat and leadership. Even in his youth, he was known for his courage and intelligence, qualities that would help him quickly rise through the ranks of the Byzantine army. The Byzantine Empire was the continuation of the Roman Empire in the East. The Roman Empire was divided into the Western Roman Empire, with Rome as its capital, and the Eastern Roman Empire, with Constantinople as its capital, which persisted even after the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476. This empire lasted over 1,000 years until the fall of Constantinople in 1450. As part of this divided empire, Belisarius began his military career as a guard for Emperor Justin I, who was the uncle of Justinian I. This position, though humble in the Byzantine army, allowed him to closely observe the dynamics of power and the defense needs of the empire. When Justinian I ascended the throne in 527, he remembered his uncle's guard and soon recognized Belisarius's potential, appointing him as commander of an elite unit of the imperial army. However, Flavius Belisarius still needed to prove himself in a significant way and demonstrate his capabilities in leading a real troop. His first major test came in 530 when Justinian sent him to fight the Persians on the empire's eastern border. Under the command of King Cleopatra I, the Persians were determined to expand their territory, clashing with the Byzantine Empire at Dara, a strategic fortress in Mesopotamia, now part of Turkey. Belisarius faced a numerically superior and fiercely determined Persian army. The Battle of Dara was a turning point in his career, showcasing his genius in combat, using innovative tactics and a deep understanding of the terrain. Belisarius organized his troops into a defensive formation that maximized their advantage. He constructed defensive trenches that funneled the Persian army into narrow corridors where they were more vulnerable to Byzantine attacks. Despite being outnumbered, the Byzantines under Belisarius achieved a decisive victory. His tactics not only repelled the invaders, but also inflicted heavy casualties on the Persian army. The victory at Dara solidified Belisarius's reputation as a natural leader and great warrior, earning him the trust and admiration of both his soldiers and superiors. Belisarius's intelligence and courage in defending Dara did not go unnoticed by Justinian. The Roman emperor, aware of the need for competent leaders for his ambitious expansion campaigns, entrusted Belisarius with an even more challenging mission: to command the entire Byzantine army. The first significant challenges soon arrived, starting with the campaigns in Africa in 533. Commanding the army, Emperor Justinian sent Belisarius to North Africa with the ambitious and dangerous mission to reconquer the Vandal kingdom, which had been a thorn in Byzantium's side for decades. At the time Belisarius took command, the Byzantine army was already in decline and did not enjoy the same strength as in earlier times. It had far fewer soldiers compared to its peak during the Roman Empire. However, despite their smaller numbers, these men were very well trained, and this was the army that landed in Carthage. Even with a smaller force, after 3 major battles and risky military maneuvers, Flavius Belisarius defeated the Vandal kingdom. His victory and command were so impressive that the Vandal king Gelimer, after being captured, made a satire against Belisarius. The king said to him, "Before you celebrate your conquest, let me first drink a glass of water, because you were so quick in your campaign and left me exhausted. Let me also eat something because you took all my labor, and let me have a lyre so I can sing a song about my defeat, so it will never be forgotten." A few months later, the Vandal kingdom was completely annexed to the Byzantine Empire. After that came the Gothic Wars and the glory in Italy. Justinian's ambition had no limits, and his next target was Italy, which was under Ostrogoth control. In 535, Belisarius received the arduous mission to reconquer Rome and restore the former territory of the Western Roman Empire. The campaign in Italy was not easy and was the most challenging and lengthy of Belisarius's career. He had to face not only a brave enemy in combat, but also the wear and tear of a prolonged war and the logistical difficulties of conducting military operations in such a vast and distant territory. Rome was approximately 26 kilometers from Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire. In Italian territory, Belisarius landed in Sicily, quickly taking the island and establishing a base of operations, which was essential for maintaining aligned objectives. He then marched to southern Italy, conquering Naples after a 20-day siege. Belisarius moved closer to his next goal, the city of Rome. Every day, Rome fell into Belisarius's hands in December 536 after another tense and dramatic siege. The recapture of Rome was a significant milestone in history, as the city had immense symbolic value. However, maintaining control of Rome would be an even greater challenge than its reconquest. The Ostrogoths, determined to retake the city, launched several attacks against the Byzantines, using the same tactic of besieging the city to try to reclaim it. The Ostrogoth siege of Rome began in December 536, when Belisarius entered the city, and lasted until March 538, when he finally broke the siege. During these months, the Byzantine defenders faced food shortages, diseases, and constant attacks from the Ostrogoths. Led by Vitiges, the city, with its historic walls, became a vast battlefield where every street and house had strategic importance. Belisarius used his leadership and ability to inspire his soldiers, which was crucial in keeping troop morale high amid extremely difficult conditions. One of Belisarius's most incredible military maneuvers during the Ostrogoth siege was using small mobile units to attack the Ostrogoth camp outside the walls, disrupting their supply lines and undermining their morale, as the Byzantine attacks occurred only during the early mornings. These special operations forced the Ostrogoths to reassess their strategies and eventually abandon the siege. The successful defense of Rome not only cemented Belisarius's reputation as one of the greatest generals in Byzantine history, but also marked a turning point in the Italian campaign. The victory dealt a blow to the Ostrogoths and demonstrated that the Byzantine Empire, under the leadership of Justinian and commanders like Belisarius, still had the capability to restore the glory of the old Western Roman Empire. However, for the Western Roman Empire to be truly restored, Justinian ordered General Belisarius to lead his troops in a pursuit of the Ostrogoths in Italian territory. The next target was Ravenna, the capital of the Ostrogoth Empire. In 540, Belisarius marched with his troops against Ravenna, realizing that to avoid heavy losses, the best strategy was to lay siege to the city. Thus, once again, Belisarius aimed to demonstrate strength to avoid conflict. Ravenna remained besieged for nearly 3 months until its king, Vitiges, under pressure and facing the prospect of a long siege, decided to negotiate. He called Belisarius and offered him the crown of the entire empire, hoping the Byzantine general would rebel against Justinian and become the new ruler of Italy. Belisarius accepted the offer to buy time and managed to enter the city. In May 540, he outmaneuvered Vitiges, marched on the city, and Ravenna surrendered to Belisarius. After entering Ravenna, he ensured that the population did not suffer any reprisals. Vitiges was taken prisoner and brought to Constantinople, where Emperor Justinian received him with honor, granting him the title of patrician. The Ostrogoth king lived the rest of his life in relative safety in the Byzantine capital. However, Belisarius's brilliant career was not only filled with glories and victories, he also faced intrigues and betrayals within his own court, from someone he could never have imagined. Jealous of his general's success, Justinian began to distrust Belisarius, recalling him to Constantinople under dubious pretexts on several occasions. In 541, Belisarius was accused of conspiring against the empire and was temporarily stripped of his command. Despite the injustices, he remained loyal to his emperor and was soon reinstated to defend Constantinople against a Hun invasion. Nevertheless, his long history of loyalty was of no avail. Belisarius was accused of conspiracy again in 562 and imprisoned. Although he was released the following year, he never regained his former influence and prestige, nor did he return to the battlefields, which he loved most. Ultimately, Flavius Belisarius died in 565, poor and abandoned by those he had defended the most. His final days.